Sally TV. Rock 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 Sally TV.
There's 150 songs on the box.
167.
Well, yeah, possibly even more than 150. But
There might possibly be quite a bit more than 150, but you never know until you get yours.
what was the determination in terms of what you were going to include, what you weren't going to include? I mean, there's great early material, Stanley the Parrot, Daily Planet, so many other songs that didn't make it. What was that determination on what made it, and what are you holding back for a second box set?
There may be a second box set. There is quite a bit more. And some of the stuff people are just going to go, what? That's not you. It's not that I was trying to be anybody different. It's just that you have to buckle your knees to the demands of the song. The song tells you what the rules are. So it's tough to do. I mean, it's possible, but it would be tough to do Yesterday if Led Zeppelin did it as a guitar bass band. Actually, that would be interesting. Boom, boom, ah, boom, 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 ah. Yesterday, I mean, it could be a totally different song. But McCartney brings in Yesterday, and George Martin says, well, wait a minute. The song demands something, and maybe you don't need drums and everything else because it'll take away from the fragile nature of the song. So let's put guitars aside and let's see if a string quartet can do it. So the song becomes more important. And in terms of the development of songs, as we all know by now, Yesterday was originally Scrambled Eggs. She's got some pretty legs, or whatever that rhyme was. So the song dictated that, you know, it just said it's got to develop more. Otherwise, it'll be a child's thing. So the song itself dictated how it was being treated.
So in terms of certain songs that you left off, like I brought up Stanley the Parrot as an example, which I think is a really interesting schizophrenic type of sounding song, which has antecedents later in a Kiss song, but why would something like that be kept off? What was the determination?
Stanley the Parrot was when I was writing linear, but it still had bits and pieces from other songs. I'd written a song called Simple Type, which used an A flat or G sharp, and then back to the A. Bam, ba-dum, da-dun, dun, dun. It's the same kind of melody chordal pattern as Jaws. Da-dun, dun, 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 dun. And Lennon used it on Across the Universe, melodically. That half-step thing, which is, you know, feels like a scratch. You want an itch you want to scratch. And so I had a song called Simple Type that Wicked Lester recorded, and I didn't quite think I hit it on the head with that, so I reused that half-step thing on Stanley the Parrot for a verse. And then when Paul heard the song and we got together in a new band called Wicked Lester, he started working on it. And then when Kiss started working and the rest of the other Wicked Lester guys were let go, Paul took my chords from Stanley the Parrot, and Strutter was born using my chords. So the Frankenstein nature of stuff. So what was originally Simple Type became Stanley the Parrot, became Strutter.
And you also used elements of Simple Type for a later Kiss song, Charisma, right?
That's also true. You can use elements. Yeah, I mean, there are only 8 notes in music, in Western music, which is shocking with how many millions and millions of variations there are.
Imagining people that get this box set listening to it, what are those what moments you said? What do you think will be some of the songs where they're going to say, what? What is that?
I think when they hear the original version of I Dream a Thousand Dreams, they're not going to know what to make of it. Again, McCartney, what I remember reading that he woke up singing the melody to Yesterday and thought it was some other song that had been written before, and it hadn't. And I literally woke up. I remember it was in this house many years ago, and it was the only time it's ever happened to me. So the lyric and the melody, I dream a thousand dreams, I cry a million tears for you. If you just give me a smile, I could die and be happy too. In the middle of my night, I'm going, gee, what the hell am I singing? What is that, the Platters? What melody is that? Who is that? And I went downstairs immediately and had one of those cassette recorders, immediately start, I dream a thousand, I'd walk, I cry a million tears for you. Who is this? And I did a search. Nobody had ever written that song, and I was just stunned. And so I wrote the song melodically and lyrically before I knew what the chords were. In fact, I went to a keyboard player and said, I want to do a demo of this and have a chick sing it like a Patsy Cline song with slide, with kind of pedal steel guitar and all that. And so to this day, I'm not sure what the chords are because I wrote the melody and the lyric. It's my song completely, but the arrangement, the chords underneath it, were applied to the melody and the lyric that I wrote. To this day, I don't know what the chords are.
Well, as a songwriter, when you write without an instrument, doesn't that sometimes stretch beyond the boundaries of what you could do, and perhaps even widen that palette?
Well, that's exactly the right point, that all of us write songs. Everybody goes into the shower and starts humming something, or if you're going for a long walk, you start humming and, oh, I can't believe I did that. And people sing song ideas. Oh my God, here comes a big dog. I think I'm going to get my head chopped off. Da 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 da. That's a melody. You're writing your own song, and you've got to get my head chopped off. Da 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 da. That's a melody and a lyric. Everybody writes songs. The difference between what I do and what everybody else does, many people don't do, is I actually write it down and then see, out of 100 ideas, you might get one or two that might be good, and they'll have to keep developing. So there are no limitations when you're thinking. You don't think, okay, I got to, I'm going to do, it's got to be a bass, got to have a lick, it's got to do this and got to do that. Which is why you have to tip your hat to a band like AC/DC that does exactly the same thing every time, song for song, album to album. I can't do that.
Yeah, and does it well too.
Does it great, probably better than anybody for that thing.
Listening to the box again is a great story of your evolution as a songwriter. And I'm curious, when do you feel that you really hit on your own voice as a songwriter in terms of really saying, yeah, now I really feel I have a grasp of how to do this?
There are a few songs that, my perspective is warped anyway, because I have fans coming up to me all the time and telling me how the most obscure song on The Elder is their favorite song of all time by anybody. There's no rhyme or reason to why something connects with somebody. But as a songwriter, and I don't often use that term because I don't really care how people think of me. They think, oh, the guy that sticks his tongue out. That's okay. If that's the only thing you've got for me, I'll take it. All the other stuff I do in business thing and all the other creative and artistic and all that, I don't care if anybody gets it or not. I'm happy. I get the Kiss thing, the sticking the tongue out gives me the opportunity to do anything and everything. And I do. But, it's going to keep coming back to, this is purging. Mm-hmm. This is like sitting in a confessional and the grand, Father Confessor, is there saying, tell me those secrets that you haven't told anybody else. This is like, you got to get it out of your system, otherwise nobody will ever do it. And you go to your grave with all this, gee, I'm so sorry, my kids and my grandkids and family and friends and enemies and everybody else couldn't hear this stuff. Because I still hold close to my heart that one of the first reviews from a guy in Portland, Oregon, for the Oregonian newspaper, who said, "I hope these guys are saving their money because they're going to need it. These knuckleheads, these clowns are never going to amount to anything." He's dead, by the way. I checked.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
There's some happiness.
He's mulch. But I don't hold any grudges. You can't. You know, living well is the best revenge. Once you get to the top of Mount Olympus, who cares how many people said, there's not a chance in the world you're going to reach the heights. Everybody's going to have something to say about it, and you may as well not worry about it. Just run your race, look straight forward, and stop looking over your shoulder. They're behind you. Just keep running your race. Not everybody likes Jesus either.
In terms of collating this material and having this material through the years, are there some tracks that were lost? Are there some demos where they're lost? Or were they in some form that are no longer retrievable?
There are a few songs that I haven't been able to find because they were recorded before cassettes were around, so they were reel to reel. Cassettes didn't come into vogue or in use until about early 70s, I would say. And I'd been writing songs 2 years after I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. So I started in '66. There were other songs I recorded, and...
You recall any of the names of the songs?
Well, you mentioned some of them, Daily Planet and About Her, and there's about 25 other songs that I recorded with Brooke Ostrander. Put On Your Slippers, Lady Fenn, and what time is the time for me to say the time is now, finding it hard to come up to you, and if and when you will be mine, can't find the time. I wanted to write a song. I remember thinking, I'm looking through you, where did you go? So many wonderful melodies with such simple chords. So I started strumming those chords and coming up with my own melodies.
And you wrote a song about your mother, which was a very interesting
My mother, and of course I couldn't speak English well that way, and when you look back on it now, you go, the hell kind of lyric is that? Well, you got a preoccupation with your mom, but I was trying to, say how wonderful she was, but because I spoke broken English at that point, it comes off weird. I remember the melody. My mother is the most beautiful woman in the world. Now here's a son talking about, and she works all day and all night. Just like my mom is amazing. But of course those words sound foreign because I'm a foreigner.
One of the most fascinating elements of the book.
One of the first melodies I ever wrote, I could only play a C chord, so I started humming a C chord, and I didn't know anything about lyrics, so I started humming a melody. Da da da, da 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 da, ba da da da, da da, which was kind of Middle Eastern-y. And that became the riff of a song called Seduction of the Innocent that many years later Kiss recorded for Carnival of Souls. But I was maybe 13 years old when I came up with that.
Rock Salad TV, 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 Rock Salad TV.
Okay, kids, you want to know where, how? Go to GeneSimmonsVault.com. GeneSimmonsVault.com.